Everyone is talking about the manure. And yes, we will get to that, because the detail is genuinely striking. But the most unsettling part of this story isn't the pile of fertilizer outside Andrew's window. It's the full picture of what his life has become in the days since he walked out of a Norfolk police station. The restrictions, the confinement, the 2-hour visit from a senior palace official, and the quiet conversations now reportedly happening at the highest levels about whether Andrew should remain in the line of succession at all. In this video, we're going to walk through everything. The arrest, what he's allegedly accused of, the farmhouse he's now confined to, those reported restrictions on his movements, what a government minister said about him on the official parliamentary record, and, toward the end, who turned up at Wood Farm recently and what that visit is now believed to have been about. Let's start with what happened. Andrew spent 11 hours in police custody on his 66th birthday. That detail is almost too precise to be coincidence, and it guaranteed maximum headlines before a single word had been written about the substance of the investigation. He was arrested on suspicion of misconduct in public office. The allegation, as widely reported, relates to his time as the United Kingdom's trade envoy between 2001 and 2011. Specifically, it is alleged that during that period, he shared sensitive information with Jeffrey Epstein. Epstein, who died in 2019 while awaiting trial in the United States, needs no lengthy introduction here. The implications of that name in connection with Andrew are already well understood. To be clear, and this matters, Andrew has not been charged. Thames Valley Police confirmed the investigation is ongoing. He left Ilsham Police Station in Norfolk and was photographed in the back of a car, slouched, looking diminished in a way that photographs of him rarely captured before. No statement, no dignified exit, just a rear window and a lens. He went to Wood Farm, and that address carries its own weight. For years, Andrew's home was Royal Lodge in Windsor, 30 rooms, sweeping grounds, a residence that, even by royal standards, was considered substantial. When he lost the battle to remain there, Charles had reportedly wanted it repurposed. It became one of the first public signs of just how far his standing within the family had deteriorated. Wood Farm is not Royal Lodge. It is a 5-bedroom farmhouse on the Sandringham estate in Norfolk. Functional, quiet, private, it is also the house where Prince Philip chose to spend much of his later years and where he lived out his final days. That comparison alone is arresting. Philip retreated to Wood Farm by choice, on his own terms, having served a lifetime of public duty. Andrew has arrived there under entirely different circumstances. Here is a detail worth noting. Sandringham is not a Crown estate. It is not held in trust for the nation. It is privately owned by King Charles III. That means Charles decides who uses it, when and on what conditions. Andrew is living in his brother's house, by his brother's permission. And then, roughly 10 days before Andrew arrived, something caught the attention of locals. 3 workers were seen on the estate, unloading what can only be described as a significant quantity of manure from a tractor and trailer. The piles ended up approximately 200 yards from the front door of Wood Farm. The reason given, and this is consistent with ordinary state management, was that the manure was being applied to encourage the growth of newly planted trees. Anyone who has spent time around large rural estates will tell you that this is entirely routine. Manure enriches soil. Land is managed constantly. Trees are planted and supported as a matter of course. But timing has a way of changing how ordinary things appear. One local resident, quoted by the Daily Mail, put it simply, "There has been a whiff of scandal around Andrew for a long time," they said. So it is fitting that he should be exposed to the smells of the countryside. Another reportedly noted that since Charles privately owns the estate, he is ultimately responsible for what happens on it, and added with dry understatement that perhaps the king was trying to communicate something. There is nothing to suggest the manure was placed deliberately. The estate has its own schedule. But the optics. A man under active police investigation, confined to a farmhouse with large piles of agricultural waste visible not far from his front door, did not go unremarked. Not by locals, not by the press. The symbolism wrote itself. What was happening inside the house, though, deserves just as much attention. According to reporting by the newspaper, Andrew's time at Wood Farm has come with a set of conditions that would have been unimaginable to him even a few years ago. He has reportedly been told he cannot go horse riding. That might sound like a trivial restriction until you understand what riding meant to him. At Royal Lodge, he rode regularly. It was part of his routine, a visible, photographed habit. Sources close to the situation suggest that being seen on horseback during an active police investigation would be considered deeply damaging, the image of ease and privilege at the exact moment the public is watching. Beyond that, reports claim he cannot leave the Sandringham estate without prior permission and a chaperone accompanying him. Any visitors wishing to see him must be approved in advance. He is not, in any practical sense, free to move as he chooses. There have been no confirmed public sightings of Andrew since he arrived. Sit with that for a moment. A man who once flew around the world representing British trade interests, who attended Davos and mingled with heads of state, who for decades operated with the full confidence of royal privilege, now reportedly unable to take a horse out without approval, unable to leave a 5-bedroom farmhouse without an escort, and with fertilizers spread down the lane outside his window. And while that was unfolding quietly in Norfolk, something far louder was happening in Westminster. Trade Minister Sir Chris Bryant stood up in the House of Commons and said something that is now part of the official parliamentary record. He described Andrew as a rude, arrogant, and entitled man. He called him a man engaged in what he characterized as a constant self-aggrandizing and self-enriching hustle. He said Andrew had been fundamentally unable to distinguish between the public interest he was supposed to serve and his own private financial interests. Those are not tabloid descriptions. They are the words of a government minister delivered in Parliament, recorded in Hansard. Bryant went further. He said the motion before the Commons, relating to the release of files connected to Andrew's trade envoy appointment, was, and I'm quoting directly here, the least we owe the victims of the horrific abuse that was perpetrated by Jeffrey Epstein and others. He spoke of those who turned a blind eye out of greed, familiarity, or deference. He was not ambiguous about the atmosphere he was describing. Ministers have agreed to release files covering Andrew's appointment and conduct as trade envoy. However, MPs were informed that certain portions of that material cannot be made public until police are satisfied that doing so would not compromise their investigation. The search of Royal Lodge, meanwhile, which ran for several days, has now concluded. Thames Valley Police have not detailed what was examined or removed. They have confirmed only that inquiries continue. Something significant was clearly being looked for. Whether it was found has not been stated. Then came an unusual visit. Richard Benyon, the Lord Chamberlain of the royal household, reportedly travelled to Wood Farm for a meeting with Andrew. By most accounts, it lasted approximately 2 hours. The Lord Chamberlain is one of the most senior officials in the royal household, not someone who makes unannounced social calls to a man sitting under police investigation in a Norfolk farmhouse. The visit has fueled significant speculation that the discussions centred, at least in part, on Andrew's position in the line of succession. He currently sits 8th. Reports suggest that both within government and at the palace, the question of whether his ongoing legal situation makes that position untenable is being actively examined. No announcement has been made. No formal process has been initiated, at least not publicly. But the combination of a 2-hour meeting with one of the palace's most senior figures and the intensifying political pressure surrounding the case has prompted serious commentary about where this is heading. A man does not receive a visit like that without the conversation touching on consequences. And those consequences are not Andrew's alone to bear. His daughters, Princess Beatrice and Princess Eugenie, have found themselves navigating something they did not create. Reports have emerged that both have significantly reduced their public appearances in recent months. Insiders suggest their professional engagements and social commitments have become uncertain, that decisions are being made, quietly, about proximity to events and institutions that don't want the association. Reportedly, both were barred from attending Royal Ascot, an event that sits at the centre of the royal social calendar. This pattern is not new to royal history. Scandal radiates. It moves outward from the original source and touches the people closest to it, regardless of what they did or didn't do. Beatrice and Eugenie built their own careers, their own reputations, separate from their father's controversies. The fear now, according to those close to the family, is that the current scale of scrutiny may be making that separation harder to maintain. Step back and look at the full arc of this, and what stands out is how complete the reversal has been. Not gradual, not partial, complete. A senior working royal, the Queen's second son. A man who represented this country's trade interests at the highest levels for a decade. Now under active police investigation, confined to a modest farmhouse on his brother's private estate, reportedly unable to ride a horse or walk out of the gate without an escort, and with a government minister publicly calling him a self-enriching opportunist from the floor of the House of Commons. The manure outside the window is, in the end, the least of his problems. What remains unanswered is whether the 2-hour meeting at Wood Farm produced any resolution or simply opened a new set of questions. Whether Andrew will ultimately face charges, whether Parliament will succeed in publishing the full files from his trade envoy years, and perhaps most consequentially, whether the palace will move to formally remove him from the line of succession, and what that would mean for a family already stretched thin by years of public fracture. The story of Andrew and the monarchy has had many chapters, but it is difficult to read what is currently unfolding and conclude that this is anything other than the final one taking shape. What do you think? Does Andrew have any realistic path back from this? Or has the combination of the investigation, the parliamentary condemnation, and the reported restrictions made that impossible? And what about Beatrice and Eugenie? Should they be shielded from the fallout, or is that no longer within anyone's power to control? Leave your thoughts below. If you want to follow this story as it develops, and there is clearly more to come, make sure you're subscribed. We cover the royal family with the detail it actually deserves.